I feel a little like an infomercial, but we'll...
If you had goat cheese that you didn't like, don't give up. Keep trying it.
My grandma, her comment about some of those foods was that's what we did in the old days. It doesn't relate to what we should be doing now. So we've lost a lot of what used to be common knowledge about traditional crops, wild plants, and one of our missions is to let people know it's there.
Here's a viable alternative to reestablish a local food system.
In only my lifetime, I've seen the landscape here in Lancaster County change, especially here in Lidditz, where I grew up. They're doing a great job of preserving that farmland, but we can do, as customers and consumers, can do our small part.
Yep, my name's Alex Wenger. I started the Field's Edge Research Farm in northern Lancaster County.
I'm Andrew Mellinger. We're here at Lindendale Farm. That's just north of Strasburg, and it's a 6th generation, 93-acre goat dairy. And this is my wife, Mary. She's partner in crime.
Yeah, so I'm Joshua Manny, the chef at Local Table in the Clubhouse of Willow Valley Communities.
Hi, I'm Chef Dennis Medley, co-founder of Lancaster Local Provisions.
Hi, I'm Gabriel, co-founder of Lancaster Local Provisions.
And the mission here is to explore diversity in food crops, in dietary traditions, in knowledge about plants and food that has been lost in recent history. And what inspired the name The Field's Edge was the topography of where we're growing, but also the idea of the edge effect in ecology, where there's a maximum of diversity, where different ecosystems meet, where the woods meets the understory meets the field. That's where you find the most diversity in plant and animal species, and that's what we wanted this to be too. I think it's important for people to know where their food comes from, because you're making a series of ethical choices, but you're also voting with your dollar for who gets supported and the ways that they're producing. We started out with squash blossoms. That was one of the first crops for restaurants. That's what that rose for, actually. Chefs were really excited about them, but also folks from Mexico love flor de calabaza as well, so we went to a lot of Latino markets and did blossoms for our friends from Puerto Rico and Mexico and other places. And it's another crop that we have a lot of farmland and a lot of farmers who could be capturing yet one more veggie from what they're already growing. On the top of the hills, the Floriani corn that we grow, we did about 2 acres of that we'll pick and shell and roast in the fall for doing roasted cornmeal, for making polenta, cornbread, grits, and so forth. And so when I heard this corn was supposed to make the best polenta, we decided we'd track it down and give it a try. This variety had a lot of variation when we started working with it. You can see we have pretty good plant health now, a lot of uniformity in the growth habit, and then the ears, there's a lot of difference. Like we're still selecting for longer cob length. All the ears have this beautiful kind of bronze tint to them. They're kind of like a red pine cone or strawberry, and then they're kissed with gold or bronze. The peaches are fun. This is an heirloom peach from New England, and chefs have been using the leaves for vanilla and almond extracts. Peaches in the almond family and have a lot of the same chemical components. So if you steep them in milk or dairy or cream or alcohol, you can extract some of those bitter almond flavors. So it's been used for cocktails, ice cream. The peaches are small, but it's extremely winter hardy. It was one of the only peaches that could be historically grown in New England, and the fella who gave it to us forwarded a copy of a newspaper from the early 1800s, I think it was, that folks would get a discounted price on the peaches if they brought him the pits back so that he could plant them and continue growing his blood peach orchards. Every crop is pretty much edible the whole way through. The leeks are another fun one with chefs. They obviously try and squeeze as much out of them as they can when they get a box of veggies, and so in addition to using the tops, what we started doing with some of the chefs is roasting and drying the entire plant to do kind of like an onion powder, but with leeks. And so that's the other fun thing that chefs have opened our eyes to as a operation that needs to fund itself by what we grow, is that if you can preserve and capture the crop with different flavor profiles in different stages of maturity, you can have many different products from the same plant. So you really have to be able to walk into the restaurant and gauge like how busy they are, how does the chef cook, how many covers do they put out a night, what kind of dinner service are they doing, is it fine dining, casual dining, if they ask for 30 days per pay, it's more corporate. And so like there's all those factors that it really is a relationship with our customers, that when I interact with them and communicate with them, those are all the factors that go into deciding, like when the chef asked me for as many habanadas as I can grow on the list of priorities, like do I grow a dozen plants or do I grow 600 plants? This is a 6 or 8 month or 10 month process that we can't really change from week to week. So we try and factor that into crop choices too, like what's going to give us multiple crops through the season when we do try something new. What chefs are great at doing is taking their experience in food. It's almost like an ethnography. It's lived experience where they've spent their career specializing in how to transform something that you or I would see in 1 or 2 dimensions. And so we've been cataloging like what do chefs do with the things we bring them, how can we apply that on a farm to be more sustainable or profitable, or I guess I'm struggling for the word I'm looking for, but more viable, and make sure that nothing goes to waste. It's all about relationships with the customers at the end of the day, and I like to think of them as collaborations because many of the folks have been incredibly supportive of what we're doing, and yeah, it's been a really good experience with them.
Alex Wenger at Field's Edge, our relationship looks like essentially he'll text and call and say, hey, I have this interesting ingredient, I have this coming up really nice and bright, and I'll say okay, and then I'll receive the product and figure out what to do with it. So I have baby carrots from Field's Edge Farm from Alex. He dropped the order off to me at my home in my alley at 10 o'clock at night. And that's just what we do to coordinate to get the best product we can. Most of Alex's stuff is right out of the ground. There's dirt everywhere. It's amazing product. He gives us a lot of specialty ingredients too, like milkweed caperberries we just got and the daylily shoots that I have over there. Yeah, so we kind of just forged a relationship in the past couple months, and we're super excited to work with him. He's got a lot of nice product. With the carrots, we typically rinse and spin. We save the tops for salsa verdes, pestos, anything that has green, salads. So all of this carrot gets used in some way or another. And if we don't, for example, want to use a stem, typically we will dehydrate that. We try to find a purpose for every part of the vegetable. And I don't know about anybody else, but I can taste the difference when I get carrots from California at a bigger purveyor, and then when I have a farmer like Alex who will pull out carrots the morning of and drop them at our door. My career spent in Philadelphia, there was a semi-connection with some of the farmers and some of the stuff available in Lancaster County, but being here in the county itself, it's just a different level of connection and a different level of availability too. Yeah, the great thing about working with Alex is he'll give me things that I don't know what they are, and it kind of challenges me to I don't know, diversify my skills and also use more of what's available. Everyone wants to use carrots and things like that, but these milkweed berries are a perfect example of using what the farmer has available. And instead of buying capers, we can make our own capers. So it benefits everybody threefold. We also have some daylily shoots here as well, which I have not used before. This is another ingredient where Alex says, hey, I have some daylily shoots. Find a use for them, and we do. Yeah, so basically our menu is structured around what's available to us. So we don't have a set idea about what the menu should be. It's more that the farmers that we work with dictate what our menu will be. And Alex can reach out, a couple hours before the shift starts, and we'll try to get it on that night's menu, or he might get stuff to me early in the week, like this week, and I can try to fully incorporate that. We leave a lot of things open-ended so that we can fully incorporate all the ingredients available to us. And it's super exciting because, it's new stuff and new techniques, and we get to use more of what is bountiful rather than just your everyday items and ingredients. So as a chef, that's like what we do and why we do it, kinda. It really brings me joy, This is the stuff I get excited about. So what's most important to me in forming a relationship with a farm or a co-op is knowing that what we get is the best available product from Lancaster County. Consistency, but also not consistency with someone like Alex. I want relationships that can provide the people that I feed with the best product, and product that is grown right and harvested right. As a chef, I don't know what goes into a farmer's work, and what I look for in a farmer is someone that bridges that gap. The more I understand about what they do, the better I can use what they put all their hard work and labor into. For this dish, I'm featuring Lindendale Farms Dowling-K cheese that you saw earlier. And what I like to do is I do a very gentle, low temperature bake on it. So it's creamy and kind of runny and nice and luscious. And I wrap it in local fig leaf. So one of my other purveyors, Scott at Village Crest Farms, has a fig tree, and he gets me fig leaves. So I blanch fig leaves, bake the cheese in the fig leaf, and have a fresh fig leaf on the bottom. It's not technically for consumption, but it can be consumed. But you'll see how I plate it, and then it all makes sense, hopefully. So again, I have some of Lindendale Farms cheese, gently baked, and we're going to take it out of this fig leaf and place it onto the fresh fig leaf. And essentially I'm going to create a sweet, bitter, seasonal salad to go around it, with a couple garnishes from Alex at Field's Edge. Have really nice radicchio from Lancaster Farm Fresh, dressed simply with some olive oil and lemon juice, and some salt. A little toss. And then we also have some super nice strawberries from an Amish farmer down in Quarryville. And sous chef Dustin does a light balsamic pickle on these, and they're perfect for the richness of the cheese. There's a little acidity, there's a little sweetness, so it all kind of balances out. So we kind of just scatter around the plate some strawberries, making sure to get a little bit of that pickling liquid in there. We go with a little bit of our radicchio that's been dressed. Then I'll take the nice pea shoots we talked about earlier from Alex at Field's Edge, give it a toss as well in that same bowl with the lemon juice and some extra virgin. We'll go a pinch of salt, and I'll place those around. A little bit of allium, some chives. Flowering chives we get from Lancaster Farm Fresh. A little more strawberry. And a little bit of balsamic reduction. And finally, we finish with a Malden sea salt that we actually make from the, I think it's stamens from squash blossoms. So we pick those, and normally those would be an item that is trashed or discarded, and we actually macerate them with some really nice Malden sea salt, and you have a lot of squash, like fresh squash flavor in the salt. So, and that's the dish. So we have a lot of local ingredients, kind of focusing and featuring one singular ingredient, in this case the Lindendale Farm cheese. It's rich, it's creamy, it's salty, it's bitter, it's sweet, it's everything.
The Willow Valley, when they do local table, there's a lot of people that are talking about local, and there's only some people that actually do it. And they are really authentic in that they're actually doing it. Josh Manny, even after I first met him, he struck me as one of those chefs that really cared about product. And he wanted to know the story, and while the restaurant had always supported our story and has always been a great customer, and everyone who works there has been, he carried on that legacy particularly well. My name's Andy Mellinger. I'm the oldest out of all of her children. I would say that as far as my role on the farm, I think both of us pretty much do a little bit of everything. But I tend to be doing a lot of the market days and also a lot of the deliveries as well. But again, when duty calls out to the farm, everybody's hands on deck. So I get to do about as much cheese making as anybody, and of course when we're making hay, everybody's making hay.
My name's Abram Mellinger. I'm the second son of the 7th generation of Mellingers. I have taken a particular interest in the cheese making side of the business fairly early on. When I was actually still in college, I took a trip to France to learn how to make some different kinds of cheeses like they do over in Europe, and brought back some of the techniques and recipes and ideas, and tried to employ them here, because I think that there is a demand for those kinds of products, even here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Andrew, we were at Cow Dairy, and then Andrew in 2005 started the Goat Dairy. And we've been marketing locally goat cheese, goat milk, and the goat meat actually as well since 2008. It's what really got us started. So we were a cow dairy, but I wanted to raise our children on goat's milk. So we had a handful of goats that he hand milked so that the children could have goat's milk. Our children could have goat's milk, and there was always extra. So he started making cheese in the kitchen. So we are here today really out of the motive of wanting something very nutritious for our children.
So this is the cave. Nice side warmer. But yeah, we built this about 3-4 years ago. So a lot of this is Romano here. We have, these are all Smokies. It's a really, really young cheese that we actually started cutting now, but we smoke them in like a big smoker. When they're real young, right after they dry. And then we coat them to lock it in, and then we stick them down here for about 3 months. And usually try to sell them within 6 months, so they're softer. A tome, it's a tweaked recipe off the tome, but they're miniature wheels, and we soak them in chambers. So we still manage them like a no-brown cheese. So we wipe them, but they're soaked in water and that color. And yeah, these are all done here. These are something new we're trying. These are washed rinds. We used to call them batch number 1, but now they're called Ronstair. It's kind of the flavor.
How you want to be able to sell your product to chefs is to have the story, because they know that there are people sitting at the table ordering something. They don't want they want this thing that's special, unique, has a story behind it. And once we could get that across to some of the chefs, those are the chefs that are out there getting customers that are going from the restaurant then to the market, or giving us a call and say, hey, we want to get this from the farm or whatever. The thing that's really nice about restaurants is that sometimes they're sporadic, they change their menus, but for the most part, compared to even buying tendencies different times of years, holidays, they're fairly consistent, that we can rely on. Well, we know that at least this chef is going to always order this amount every week, and that kind of consistency is something that we really helped us start some of our new products, the consistency of our wholesale, and then you can build off of that. But you have to be careful because they're a small business just like we are, and you can't put all your eggs in one basket.
We are a seasonal herd. In other words, the goats all have their kids in a 6-week period in March and April. And so the milk composition is what it is at the beginning of the season. It changes through the summer and then again in the fall. For instance, mozzarella. It's very difficult to make mozzarella in the spring and in the fall. But in the summer, when the protein is lower and the ratio between the fat and protein is different, it stretches a lot better. When you do the pasta filata and we stretch all the mozzarella by hand. And when you stretch it, it stretches much better, much easier to make in the summertime. Now, with experience, we're trying to stretch that window further and further. But summertime is mozzarella time. When
the tomatoes come in.
When the tomatoes come in. So it adapts. I think that's how we tend to eat. We eat things when they're fresh, and then we just wait. And then it tastes that much better next year when it comes around again.
So the closer you can shop to a farm, the closer the link from your farm, your local farm, to your own table, the better.
Yeah, one of our close farm partners that we work with is Lindendale Farm. Andy over there is an incredible guy, and they're doing really beautiful work. They're a preserve farm. Lancaster Farmland Trust, your organization, helped preserve that farm. And their products, their chèvre, their cheeses, their caramel, their goat caramel, it's all blessed. It's all so special. Every single thing they make, you can taste the extraordinary amount of care and love that went into it.
At Lancaster Local Provisions, we're creating community around food. So you don't have to be a really good cook to be one of our customers. You can just support some of our local makers that make wonderful artisanal products and cheeses and meats, or you can really learn to cook seasonally and help support all the wonderful farms and farmland here in Lancaster County. We support over 150 local farms, and we support over 70 local and regional makers. And you can shop our wonderful online shop every week from Saturday at 8 a.m. to Monday at 12:30 p.m. and we deliver directly to your door every Wednesday. So we have a couple different ways that people can shop our online shop. We have curated farm shares where I curate what's in the box every week with my recipes in mind. You get 5 recipes that are inspiration. You don't have to make them, but I'm not going to give you a Caraflax cabbage without telling you what it is, what it tastes like, and some good recipes for it. Then we have our flexible farm shares where you curate your own farm share box. You get a set amount of money to spend on our marketplace, and you can shop whatever produce you'd like. Then we have some other provision shares. So I curate artisanal products, dairy items, grains, and you can have a vegetarian provision share or a plant-based provision share. We have a lot of plant-based options for our members. Or you can simply shop week to week. So we have a $30 order minimum, and you can just shop groceries whenever you like.
So there's really nothing like it. We've taken what we love from all of the food delivery services out there, dropped the things we didn't love, and we've created this really special offering which brings in really cool qualities to it.
So right now you're at packing day. I'm doing our pantry staple item add-ons, and my team has come before me to do most of the vegetables, the fresh vegetables. So everybody's order, we have the order pack list. We say, okay, you're getting a bunch of onions, you're getting peaches for this week, and then of course this person ordered ricotta cheese to make, I'm sure, a very beautiful peach salad, which is one of my recipes this week. So that's what we're doing. We just sort of go around down the line and pack everybody's boxes. Most of our makers, we support over 70 individual makers here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and the larger Mid-Atlantic region. We're sourcing small batch, family-owned companies. Some of our favorites, we have Fiddle Creek Dairy. They are a grass-fed dairy farm. This is like the best yogurt you've ever had. If you haven't tried it, you haven't lived. But we also have a lot of local, this is a Lancaster maker. We have Cortazzo Sauce, which is a Lancaster maker. Tom's Bread, their granola is delicious. We have this Go-Go Gin from Keep Well Vinegar. They're out of York, Pennsylvania, and this is a spicy chili paste. But you can see, like, this is our Lanchego. It's a Manchego style cheese made here in Lancaster, so it's called Lanchego. But yeah, we have a whole list of all these amazing pantry items and staples that you can shop week to week.
So the main question I have for everyone is, why are we choosing to eat food that's grown thousands of miles away?
Whatever grows together, goes together. That's sort of my motto. So if carrots and onions are in season out of the ground together, they would make a really tasty dish. So that's what I have in mind when I'm curating our marketplace every week and our farm share boxes. I'm really thinking about how the different ingredients will go together in recipes. So I'm not going to give somebody a kohlrabi. And I love using kohlrabi as an example because people are afraid of kohlrabi, and it's delicious and it tastes like cauliflower and everyone should love it. And I'm starting to get our customers loving it. But you'll never get an ingredient that you don't know what it is or how to prepare it. And I try to make our recipes as approachable and easy as possible. Well, we have our first peaches this summer, which we're really excited about. These are Desiree peaches. They're very sweet and they ripen really nicely. We have bunched carrots. This is a staff favorite. We love these carrots. They're organic. They taste unlike anything you've ever had. We have, these are really cute. These are Caraflax cabbages. I just love how they look. They're very tender. They're a very sweet, light cabbage flavor. And then I'm making a zucchini soup for one of the recipes this week. So we have these beautiful gold zucchini and of course fresh spring onions. I grew up in the kitchen. My family owned a catering company. So I was always around food. My grandmother taught me how to bake, but it's a dichotomy between my own education, my self-education into my family history and unearthing recipes and sort of a way of life that I'm not attached to. My mother was the first Smedley not born on the farm, and so I'm only one generation away from that farmland, but I didn't grow up, you know, on a farm. I grew up with a very big vegetable garden where I wouldn't eat anything. So my culinary education is really the picky eater. And I just really want to get people loving vegetables. Yeah, we have a really close relationship with all of our farm partners and all of our maker partners. We consider all of our vendors our partners because we're in this together. A rising tide lifts all boats. So the more local companies we can help support, the better, right? So how we work with our co-ops is every week they put out their availability list. I have a nice conversation every Friday morning with Mitch from Farm Fresh. And we talk about what's available, what do they have a lot of, what are items that people are sort of afraid to order, and I try to incorporate that. So we will include kohlrabi in our box, but I'll tell you that it tastes like cauliflower and give you recipes on how to use it. So we've actually had a lot of customers fall in love with kohlrabi, which is pretty cool. We're renaming it kohlrabi. But in the fall, you know, Farm Fresh had a surplus of sunchokes or Jerusalem artichokes, and they say, hey Diana, like we have a lot of these, can you use them? So I say yes, I would love to. I'd love to teach people about sunchokes, and we got a lot of our customers in love with them. So it just changes with the season. So when it's green season, we have a very green box. When there are a lot of root vegetables, we have a lot of root vegetables in our boxes, but it is a real partnership with all of our farm partners.
We're so used to having everything we want all the time, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for the environment. It doesn't work for on so many different levels. If we begin to shift, you know, I think of our company a lot of the time as a progressive company, but in a lot of ways it's regressive. There used to be a sustainable local food system here. And in this Mennonite farming valley where our warehouse is, there still is to a big extent. These farms here have been practicing sustainable growing practices for hundreds of years, if not more.
I started thinking about what are the possibilities if you take two really unique varieties or species of crops and cross them and create something the world hasn't seen before, or something that can hold up to drought and changing climates, or maybe you can grow without sprays for organic or to be more profitable for conventional farmers. So those are, I guess that early interest with them is really what led to wanting to help farmers, because I saw how hard they worked through their life, and from having a lot of friends that I grew up with who are commercial growers or who have family members who are, farming's not easy, and anything we can do to make it more viable or to help farmers along is a good thing, in my opinion. We all rely on farms for our subsistence, and it's not an easy lifestyle. And I think that it's a shame that there's so many farms that are not profitable when people work so hard, even locally. And that was what inspired the mission in the first place, was trying to find things that could be better for farmers and healthier for consumers.
Yeah, I think one of the secrets to our resilience as a farm is that we've decided to really focus on the artisanal and also the farmstead nature of the product. And what that means is that the farmstead means that everything that happens from start to finish is going to be here. And so all of the food for the goats is grown here. All of the goats' husbandry and care is all done here. The milk is processed here, and we even sell it yet after that. So from start to finish, end product, we very intimately know what's going on in all those steps. And the artisanal is more of just like, we can't just write it down on a piece of paper. It is, something that everyone does and knows about. But it is really important that we maintain the health of the soil, of the animals, and of the hygiene in the cheese room. All of that is really, really important in order to be able to do that from start to finish.
Here at Lancaster Local Provisions, we believe that our food choices can change the world.
So we talk about environmental impact a lot at Lancaster Local Provisions, and for us, it's about changing and making smaller choices that have really big impact. So just the fact that if you can support some local farms here in Lancaster County, you're making a large global impact on the environment.
For me, this has been a dream and a wish of mine for a long time, to get back to the land and to help others do the same. And I just feel so grateful to be able to be working and meeting amazing local farmers who are overcoming odds that you couldn't believe to grow food in the most beautiful and sustainable ways, and I'm learning so much.
Moving to Lancaster County as a chef has been exponentially good for my growth as a cook, as a person, with relationships with farmers, but with other people too. I think that moving to Lancaster County and creating those new relationships and being in an environment like this has really helped me to rediscover what matters in cooking, but also what matters like outside of the kitchen as well. I don't know, I come from a fast-paced, highly populated area, and Lancaster County has shown me what it means to slow down, get in touch with different foods, different ingredients, different environments, and different people. So that's another reason why what we do here is so important to me as a cook and a chef, but also as a person.